that. And, interestingly, people, so I didn't come out until I was 41, and I'd been married
Wow.
for 20 years. And people are like, oh, was it hard to be married to a woman? And I was like, no, I loved my then wife, and she was my best friend, and I was sexually attracted to her. But there was always this split in my mind that I wish that I could be two people, and that I
Oh,
had to
that's interesting.
suppress this thing. And I think she knew, and it was a complicated time. Um, but and people always ask me, well, why don't you consider yourself bisexual? And it's like, well, because if I have a choice, I'm gonna go the one place all the time. That's not to say I made the mistake actually when we were getting divorced, and my daughter asked me about that, who was 13 at the time. And I said, it's kind of like ice cream. Like, ice cream is amazing, and vanilla ice cream can be great, but it's not Rocky Road. And if you have a choice, you're going to go with Rocky Road every time. And of course, my 13-year-old daughter didn't know better, like told her mother that. And
Oh,
then I got
yeah.
in this fight, and she was like, you compared me to vanilla ice cream. I'm like, no, that's not the point. I love vanilla ice cream.
It's
It's
a
the good vanilla
metaphor.
ice cream.
Yeah.
It's the good vanilla ice cream with the vanilla bean in it and everything. But so I didn't suffer, and I loved my married, so-called heterosexual life. But I wanted this other life also. So I struggled with that for years and years and years and years and years, obviously, for 20 years. We had two kids, my daughter and then my son. And then actually, my ex-wife and I split up I'm sure, because she knew, she knew that I was gay, and, uh, we had kind of, I think in her mind, it was a trade-off and it was important, but I think it ate away at her, and in some ways her self-esteem, that she was always concerned, was I really attracted to her, and those sorts of things. So it caused some conflict. We ended up splitting up, kind of because we had started a theater in town, and she produced live theater, and I built the sets, and it was kind of fun.
What was it called?
It was the Playwright Theater. It was on 17th. And we only did plays that had never been produced in Denver. So they were kind of original plays, or plays that had been done other places, which was really fun. But she was kind of suddenly getting the attention of these kind of young straight boy actors. And not that she, had an affair or anything like that, but I think it played a role in, kind of her doubting my attraction or commitment to her, and things just started getting really tense between us, and we ended up splitting up. And she was really supportive of me, and in fact, and she was like, this is your chance to be gay. This is your chance to be who you are. And that was such a loving, amazing thing, for me. So we sat down with my kids, and you'll love this. So my 13-year-old daughter and my 9-year-old son, both who are wicked smart, we told them, and my daughter immediately smacked my son and said, told you. And I was like, because I thought I was doing such a good job of being the butch heterosexual, right? And I was like,
Oh, that's so
Madeline,
cute.
it's so cute. But even better is, I was like, how did you know I was gay? And she was like, you didn't smell like the other dads.
Oh my God.
Because I bet I bought higher quality cologne.
Yeah, you probably smelled way better than them.
Yeah. So, and then my son at 9 years old said, I don't care what you are, Dad, as long as you're not a pedophile. And came over and hugged me. And I was like, how in the hell does a 9-year old even know what a pedophile is? Um, but it's kind
Wow.
of funny that whole like
Like
that connection
narrative.
came full circle. Um, and then a few years later, my daughter said that she was telling me she was angry at me that day because I had stole her thunder because she wanted to be the person to come out in the family.
Oh my God.
So she came out, and then
Your daughter
surprisingly,
sounds amazing.
oh, she is. Both my kids are amazing. And then my son, actually, I was the last person that he came out to. Um,
Interesting.
and I thought it was interesting too. And I said, why was I the last person that you came out to? And first he said, well, I thought you just assumed. And I was like, not necessarily. And he said, well, and I thought you'd make too big a deal out of it. Uh,
Oh, he's like, you would like love on him too
yeah, that's
much.
probably true.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway,
Well, I think something really interesting about your story is I'm just, projecting, but like talking about um being married and then coming out afterwards, as you said, people might assume like, oh my God, like you must have had such a rough life. I feel like you're adding a lot of nuance to this conversation on like how you were able to embrace this other side of yourself while you're still like figuring out your identity.
right. I mean, absolutely. And the kind of punchline to that whole story, or the end of it, is my ex-wife actually now lives with me, and best friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's awesome. And she's always, I think she's always been totally 100% supportive of me, and loves me as a person. And that maybe the marriage at the time didn't work for a variety of reasons, one of which was that. But it took a while, and then we kind of came back together. And we once had a this is awesome. So when we first split up, we decided not to get divorced just for financial reasons, but we were both off living our lives, right?
Hmm.
And I had a partner then, Matt, and she had a boyfriend, David, and we all went out to tracks one Saturday night. And we were all kind of standing there, and this guy that I had met previously in a bar came up and said, "Oh, hey Bob, it's good to see you." And I was like, "Oh, it's good to see you too. Oh, let me introduce, this is my boyfriend Matt and my wife Cindy and her boyfriend Dave." And this guy literally, he like looks at me and he was like, I can't. And he like turned and walked away. And but that was, I mean, what does it matter? Like we put
Yeah,
all
it's your situation.
things and definitions on what relationships should be. And I really credit my ex-wife for like saying, what does it matter what kind of other people think our relationship should be, or whatever. It's who we are and who we care about is all that matters. So that's been amazing.